The wind howled like a living thing outside my window, whipping snow into blinding sheets that erased the world beyond the glass. It was the kind of storm that shut down cities. Roads impassable, power lines sagging under ice, schools and businesses closed for days. I sat by the fireplace in my small house on Elmwood Lane, sipping hot coffee, grateful for the generator humming in the garage. I'd lived here for 3 years, a quiet single guy in my 30s who'd saved up for this modest place in a gated community outside Denver. The neighborhood was nice enough, manicured lawns in summer, holiday lights in winter, but it came with an HOA run by one woman everyone whispered about, Evelyn Hargrove. Evelyn was the classic neighborhood enforcer. Mid-50s, perfectly coiffed bob, always in pearl earrings and a cardigan like she was auditioning for a catalog. She was HOA president, treasurer, and self-appointed queen. She'd fine you for a weed in your flower bed, a car parked facing the wrong direction, or holiday decorations up too early. Most folks paid the fines to avoid the hassle. She'd send certified letters, threaten liens, even call code enforcement for minor stuff. But me, I'd always complied just enough to stay off her radar. Until that storm started small. A month earlier, I'd put up a small shed in my backyard for tools and my snowblower. The CC and RS said structures needed approval, but it was prefab under the size limit and matched the house color. I figured it was fine. Evelyn disagreed. She sent a violation notice. Una aesthetic structure. Remove immediately or face $500 fine. I appealed at the next board meeting, showed photos, cited the rules. The board, mostly her cronies, upheld it anyway. I paid the fine, grumbled, and left it up. Then the storm hit. Forecast called for 3 feet of snow over 2 days. I fired up my snowblower, a big commercial one I'd bought used, and cleared my driveway early. By afternoon, the cul-de-sac was buried. Neighbors waved as I blew out their drives too. Old Mr. Jenkins next door couldn't shovel anymore with his bad hip. The young family across the street had 2 toddlers. I spent hours out there, the machine roaring, snow flying in arcs. Felt good, community stuff. That's when Evelyn appeared. She stormed out of her McMansion at the end of the lane, bundled in a fur-trimmed coat, face red from cold or rage. She marched right up as I finished the shared walkway. "You, turn that thing off!" she shrieked over the engine. "I killed it." "What's up, Mrs. Hargrove? That monstrosity in your yard. And now this noise pollution during a storm. People are trying to rest. It's a snowblower, Evelyn. Clearing drives so folks don't get stuck." She jabbed a finger at me. "The shed violates codes, and you've ignored repeated notices. The board has voted. Eviction proceedings start now. Pack up. You're out." I laughed at first, thinking it was bluster. HOAs can't just evict like that. They can fine, lien, foreclose eventually on unpaid dues, but eviction? For a shed? During a blizzard? You're joking. Her eyes narrowed. "I have authority. Emergency powers in severe weather. You're a nuisance. Sheriff will be here to remove you." The storm raged harder. Power flickered neighborhood-wide. I went inside, shaking my head, but then knocks pounding at my door an hour later. Through the peephole, 2 deputies, snow-covered, looking miserable. "Evening, sir. Complaint from HOA president. Threat to community safety or something. She says you need to vacate." I opened the door a crack. "Deputies, it's a blizzard. Where am I supposed to go?" They exchanged looks. One side, "Ma'am's insistent. Says it's urgent." Evelyn stood behind them in her driveway, arms crossed, smirking under a streetlight. I invited the officers in for coffee, anything to get out of the cold. Explained the shed, the fines, her threats. Showed emails, notices. They radioed dispatch, checked records. "Look," the older deputy said, "HOA's got power, but this ain't eviction worthy. No court order. We'd need that to force you out." Evelyn yelled from outside, "Do your job. He's violating." The younger deputy stepped out, spoke to her firmly. I heard snippets. "Ma'am, false report. Wasting resources in emergency." They left without me, warning her about misuse of emergency services. But she wasn't done. Next morning, snow still falling. She emailed the whole neighborhood. Dangerous resident refusing compliance. Stay clear of my address. Board action imminent. Neighbors texted me. Confused. Supportive. Mr. Jenkins called. She's gone mad. By evening, roads closed. No plows yet. My generator kept me warm, but others lost power. I bundled up, snowblowed again. Cleared the whole street. Kids came out, built forts in the piles. Evelyn watched from her window, furious. That's when I decided enough. I've been polite too long. I started digging literally and figuratively. While the storm trapped us all inside, I reviewed HOA documents online, old minutes I'd saved. Evelyn had been president for 8 years. No elections in 5. Claimed no contenders. Finances murky. Dues up 20% last year, but common areas neglected. And her job? She was a compliance officer for the city planning department. Irony noted. I emailed neighbors discreetly. Anyone else tired of arbitrary rules? Responses flooded. Turns out plenty. Fines for basketball hoops, wrong mulch color, even a kid's lemonade stand. We formed a group chat. Planned. Storm cleared after 3 days. For feet of snow. City plows finally came. I hosted an emergency neighborhood meeting in my garage, heated, coffee flowing. 20 households showed. Shared stories. Evelyn's shed vendetta was the spark. Her eviction stunt the gasoline. We petitioned for a special meeting to recall the board. Required 51% signatures. Got 68%. Evelyn fought. Claimed invalid during emergency. But state law clear, no such thing. The meeting was electric. Community center packed. Evelyn chaired, smug at first. Nominations opened. I ran for president, others for board. Votes counted publicly. She lost. Badly. New board, me president, diverse group, young parents, retirees, professionals. First act. Audit finances. Hired independent firm. What we found ended her. Evelyn had siphoned funds. Personal expenses as administrative. Inflated contracts to a company owned by her sister-in-law. Thousands misappropriated. Plus, selective enforcement logs showed she'd waived fines for friends. Hammered others. We reported to authorities. As city employee handling permits and compliance, embezzlement from HOA, conflict of interest big time, investigation swift. City suspended her pending review. Evidence clear, bank records, emails. She resigned from HOA for health reasons. Pleaded to lesser charges, but fired from her 20-year career. Lost pension benefits partially. Neighborhood changed overnight. Dues lowered. Rules relaxed reasonably. Shed? Approved retroactively. Last I heard, Evelyn moved, sold her house quick, below market. And me? Still here, snowblower ready for next storm. Neighbors wave, kids play. Peaceful. Who knew a blizzard could melt a tyrant? The recall meeting buzzed with tension. Fluorescent lights humming overhead as residents filed in. Boots dripping melted snow. Evelyn sat at the head table, gavel in hand, her smile tight like overstarched linen. She tried to cancel, citing unsafe conditions post-storm. But we'd overridden with the petition. State guidelines backed us, majority rules. I stood at the podium, heart pounding but voice steady. Fellow homeowners, we've endured years of inconsistent enforcement, rising dues with nothing to show, and most recently, an attempt to evict a resident during a life-threatening blizzard over a backyard shed. Murmurs rippled. Evelyn banged the gavel. Out of order. This is defamation. But the crowd wasn't hers anymore. Mr. Jenkins, 78 and frail but fierce, raised his hand. I've lived here 30 years. Paid every fine Evelyn threw. My wife's medical bills piled up while dues rose. Enough. A young mom, Sarah from down the street, spoke next. She fined me $200 for my daughter's chalk drawings on the sidewalk. Said it was graffiti. During the storm, when power was out and we were freezing, she threatened eviction instead of helping. One by one, stories poured out. The basketball hoop taken down mid-game. The veteran fined for an American flag, too large. The couple harassed over their hybrid car charger, altering facade. Evelyn's face paled. These are rules. For property values. I projected documents on the screen, scanned CC and RS, state statutes. Actually, many rules were additions without proper vote. And emergency powers? No provision for evicting over aesthetics. Vote came. Ballots secret. Counted aloud. President. Me 72%. Evelyn 22%. Abstain, rest. Board seats swept by our slate. She stormed out midway, heels clicking fury. But the real fallout brewed quietly. New board's first priority. Transparency. We posted all finances online. Hired the auditor a retired CPA neighbor recommended. Report dropped 2 months later. Damning. Over 5 years, $48,000 unaccounted. Reimbursements for Evelyn's HOA travel. Conferences that matched her personal vacations. Contracts for landscaping to her brother-in-law's firm. Overbilled by 30%. Waived fines totaling $12,000 for board allies. Worse. As city compliance officer, she'd used her position. Pulled permits faster for friends. Delayed for foes. One case. Denied a neighbor's deck expansion. Then approved identical for her cousin. We forwarded everything police, city HR, state attorney general. Evelyn lawyered up fast. Claimed accounting errors. But emails surfaced. Her directing payments. Boasting in texts to a friend about perks of the job. City investigation parallel. Conflict of interest violation using public office for private gain, even indirectly. Hearing public. News picked it up. HOA president accused of embezzlement. Abusing city role. She took plea. Restitution, probation, no jail but permanent bar from public employment. Fired immediately. Her career, decades building influence in planning, zoning boards, gone. Reputation shredded. Former colleagues avoided her at grocery stores. Neighborhood thrived. We amended bylaws. Term limits, mandatory elections, independent audits yearly. Dues cut 15%, reserves built properly. Common areas upgraded, new playground, fixed lights. I served 2 terms, then stepped down. Now just a resident again. Grilling in summer, snow blowing in winter. Sometimes, during storms, I think of that pounding on my door. How close she came to bullying me out into the cold. But the blizzard buried her plans and unearthed the truth. Community stronger now. Neighbors help each other. No fear of arbitrary queens. And Evelyn? Rumors say she's in a condo far away. No HOA involved. Karma, like snow, accumulates quietly, then avalanches.